welcome back once again to Leadership A to Z. Today, we actually have a really big topic that I'm going to try to fit into a really small time frame. So I will actually refer you to an article that I wrote on my blog a little while ago to kind of flesh things out a little further. But today is the letter S, and S is for strategic. Now, when I talk to new leaders, I often bring up this question of being able to think strategically. And frankly, in many cases, there's not a whole lot of interest in that. And I get that because as a new leader, you have risen through the ranks being tactical as you came up through the ranks of individual contribution. But now you are in a position that does require the ability to understand strategy, strategic direction, and what strategy means in terms of goals and tactics. Like I said, this is a really big topic, but the reason that I want you to understand its importance, and that's really all we're going to cover here, is that every single one of a number of people, I did a sort of informal survey of a number of C-suite executives, senior and mid-level managers, executive coaches, all people who are higher above this first-line manager and leader position. Every one of them, when I asked a very simple open-ended question, what is the number one thing that new managers and leaders struggle with the most and most need to understand but don't? Every one of them, without any prompting, I just asked the question that way, and I honestly, when I first started asking it, expected a different answer. Every one of them said strategic thinking. So for your ongoing advancement as a new leader, this really is important, and it really is something that you need to educate yourself on and understand. I will add to that strategy and strategic thinking, you're going to find a lot of different explanations of it, definitions of it, approaches to it if you start doing research, Googling and so on, which is one reason why it's such a challenge, is that often even senior executives, I will say, have multiple different definitions of it. I'm not going to say they're necessarily incorrect. You can draw your own conclusions. So it can be hard to understand and to get a grasp of. That's why I'm going to give you an article at the end of this. I will put the link to the article up on the screen. So it is worth your while to understand what strategy is conceptually, understand specifically what your organization's strategy, your department's strategy, your team's strategy all are relative to each other and relative to the organizational goals. I will leave it at that because otherwise this will turn into a multi-hour long conversation, and that's not what these are intended to be. So stay tuned next week for the letter T.